Wait, before you guys skip today's intro, I have something really important to tell you, okay? I just want to say you look so beautiful today, and I love the way your eyebrows look for some reason. It looks immaculate. What is happening, ladies and gents? It's your boy Ed from TechSource. Welcome to Setup Wars episode 2. What number are we on again? Welcome to Setup Wars episode 217, the show where we show off some awesome setups to give you inspiration and tips on how to improve your very own. If you want to participate on the show, make sure to watch the video linked down below. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and relax because you know what time it is. It's time for Setup Wars. The Preloop is the newest, silent, and reliable all-in-one cooler from Be Quiet, available in a range of 120mm based options from 120 to 360mm, with a 280mm version as well, featuring dual Pure Wings to 140mm PWM fans. The Preloop features an easy-to-access refill port and their Pure Wings 2 fans that are airflow optimized to ensure perfect cooling airflow. That, combined with their inline pump design, isolates even more noise for a silent operation. The all-black aesthetic also guarantees that it will look stunning in every PC case. To learn more, click the link below. Kicking off the show, we have Asuka from Colorado and his insane all-white productivity setup. Asuka is actually an Air Force veteran, and this is the setup he built for himself and his son. He uses it for mainly video and music production while letting his son use it to play Valorant. Very nice. The setup is built on top of a glass desk that he picked up from Amazon, which has this cool frosted white surface that blends in really well with the rest of the setup. I also love how almost every piece of gear he owns is in white. I'm guessing he went with those Samsung monitors because of the colors, and although I can respect the dedication to the theme, sometimes it's not a great idea picking aesthetics over performance. In this case, you could have gotten higher resolution monitors that would have helped out in production while keeping the white aesthetic because it's really easy to mod monitors. You could have just painted the base in white and skinned the bezels if you really wanted to. Same thing with your external hard drive. The black color really sticks out a lot since everything else on the desk is white. I would have just skinned that, to be honest, because there is no balance between the two colors. It would have been better to commit to the all-white theme that you were going for. Just like what you did with your Scarlett audio interface, which, by the way, I'm loving the marble skin on that. I will give you points on the rest of the peripherals, however. The all-white Ducky 1-2 keyboard and G305 make a good combo, along with that extended mouse pad. But I love how Asuka went with a custom coiled cable for the keyboard. He knew there was no way of hiding the cables on a glass surface, so he embraced that and he picked up a nice white cable to show off on the desk. Well done. However, with that said, I'm gonna be that guy and point out the black cable from the extended mouse pad. If you really wanted to take it a step further, you can replace that black cable with a white one instead, so it really blends in with the color scheme. This is pretty much nitpicking at this point, but if I don't mention it in this video, then I won't be able to sleep tonight. And I'm sure a lot of you guys actually watch my videos because of my annoying attention to detail. Alrighty then, moving on to audio gear. Asuka has the Yamaha HS8 speakers sitting on floor stands and the Audio-Technica M50s that he keeps on an acrylic stand. One concern I do have with the setup is the sub location that you have underneath the desk. Doesn't that interfere with your legroom? Unless you use it as a footrest, then I guess it's not a big deal, but I would have tucked that away somewhere in the corner so it doesn't bother you. Cables are managed really well considering he's using a glass desk. Lots of raceways were installed to channel and hide the wires from the setup and the PC that he put up top on a wall shelf. We got the 7700K in here with a GTX 1070. I think some white cable extensions would look really nice with the build, but other than that, it's a sweet looking system. Right behind the main setup is a lounge and entertainment area with a couch and TV, and I love that even the couch is in white for consistency. Alright, so here's what I think about this setup. First and foremost, I think what Asuka started here is amazing, and I love the direction he was going with this setup. However, there is a lot of potential for this setup that he hasn't yet unlocked. A lot of people don't realize this, but what you add to the wall can really impact the presentation of your setup. If it's boring and underwhelming, it really undermines your setup. And on the other hand, if you have something eye-popping or catchy, then it just adds to the overall look. For starters, the RGB lighting in the corner of the ceilings are a bit too tacky, especially considering the setup has a more of a professional atmosphere. Secondly, the acoustic panels on the wall don't really contribute that much in terms of functionality or aesthetics for that matter. You would need a lot more of those on the wall for effective sound absorption. Not to mention, it doesn't really look good with the setup. I feel like you just threw those on there just to have something on the wall. There are other really great looking acoustic panels that you can buy that will not only do the same job, but it will also look great in your setup. I encourage you and anyone else looking to sound dampen their room to check these out. I'll drop a link to some websites where you can make your very own for cheap. Although the RGB strips on the ceiling are a bit tacky, you can always add other cool lighting, like these LifeX beams for example. You can come up with some pretty cool designs around your PC with them, or these hexagon light panels that can add a bit of decoration as well. You have the perfect layout to do something awesome and creative, so I would say take advantage of that and my recommendations from earlier and create something spectacular that complements your setup. Thank you, Asuka, for entering. Up next, we have Baz, who is a criminal investigator from Dubai. He says his job is very demanding, so he decided to build himself an epic game room so that he can come home and have fun gaming and release all that stress. Even as a kid, Baz dreamed of having a setup like this one day, and through his determination and hard work, he made it happen. It took him almost a full year to complete this awesome man cave. Starting off with his main gaming setup, which he built on a custom desk with a transparent glass panel on the top. So check this out. He hooked up a second monitor underneath the desk, which allows him to see the display from the top and use it as a secondary display in the coolest way possible. He says he mostly uses the second display to monitor hardware and temps. The main monitor that he uses for gaming is a 27-inch 1440p one from Asus that he mounted on the desk. He even built a wireless charger in the desk, so all he has to do is set his iPhone down to start charging. Genius. For peripherals, we got the An Pro 2 keyboard with some custom keycaps and the Logitech G Pro mouse, although I would recommend a small mouse pad since you have a glass top. For audio, Baz uses the Astro A50 headset mostly for gaming, but he does have the JBL Pulse 3 speaker as well for music and watching videos. The PC powering the setup is a custom-built Aorus themed PC with the 9900K and the Aorus RTX 2080 Super. Nice. And then we got this huge shelf right next to the setup with just some of his collectibles. Shout out to Baz for that Money Heist collection he's got there. One of my all-time favorite shows on Netflix. He definitely has some good taste in shows. I love that some parts of the room are actual scenes that he created using some of the props, like this Breaking Bad area for example. He's got Walter White and Jesse cooking up the good stuff with a bunch of meth on the table and fake money. I mean, he's got it all. The attention to detail is pretty amazing. It's really awesome to see him take a different but creative approach in displaying some of these collectibles. Moving our way towards the center of the room, we can see his awesome entertainment setup. We got two super cozy looking recliner sofa chairs and a coffee table in the middle. He actually hooked up a 65-inch TV to his PC with a 10 feet HDMI cable, and he's able to control it with the Corsair K63 keyboard and the G Pro wireless mouse. He can kick back and watch videos on here or play on his consoles that he has tucked away underneath the TV. I also love what he did with the floor of the gaming room. He used an electric saw to cut in the ground and installed a bunch of RGB strips, and then he poured in epoxy material to fill in the gap so it stays flush with the surface. Pretty clever idea actually. At this point, you might be asking, how does Baz control the lighting in this room? Surely he must have an easy way, right? Well, he actually has two ways. One is to control the lighting, and the other is to turn on the setup itself. The first method is by simply telling Alexa to change the colors.
Alexa, change my setup to blue.
Okay.
The second method, which is my personal favorite, is by telling Alexa to turn on the setup using the Iron Man heart that he custom made himself.
Alexa, use Iron Man heart to turn on my setup.
All devices in your setup are connected by Iron Man heart. Enjoy your time.
This entire man cave has so many little mods and surprises that it literally blew my panties right off. I am absolutely blown away by the creativity and hard work that went into this man cave. And for that reason alone, I am proud to present Baz with the 31st seal of approval. If you're watching this video, toss an email to set up or his prizes to claim your plaque. Well done. Damn, Daniel. And number 3 is Daniel from Germany, who is a funeral director, and this is the setup that he uses for mainly competitive FPS gaming and multimedia. He's rocking quad displays that he mounted against the wall. We got triple 24-inch monitors and a 50-inch 4K TV up top as an overhead. I love how he kept everything symmetrical by placing the switch in the center and putting a plant and desk lamps on both sides of the desk. Nicely done. It looks like Daniel is a lefty. We got the new Viper Ultimate mouse on the left side paired with the Razer Huntsman keyboard. If you installed that grommet yourself, I would have gone with a smaller one so it's not as obtrusive unless it already came installed with the desk. He also installed a cable net underneath the desk to hold the keyboard wire because since he's a lefty, he has to move the keyboard a lot more to the right in order to use it comfortably. So that net is there to hold the cable slack. For audio, Daniel kept it simple. He uses the Sennheiser GSP 600 headset and a JBL speaker that he mounted behind the right monitor. I do have to commend Daniel on the cable management. He opened up some parts of the wall to hide and channel the cables through, and it wasn't easy because he had to chisel away on some parts of the concrete to make it happen. I love the dedication here. And finally, the PC powering the setup is displayed beautifully on the left side. And can we just appreciate the perfect size of that wall shelf? It's literally the same length of the PC. How satisfying is that? It's tiny, but mighty, just like what my wife tells me every night. We got the 9900K in here and the RTX 2080 Ti, bonus points on the AIO sleeve and the custom cables you added in the build. Well done. An epic and super clean quad display battle station. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing it with us. Coming in at number 4 is Logan from Utah, and the first thing that caught my eye was the giant horizontal poster on the wall. I can't tell if it's a general Nintendo poster or if it's specifically a Super Smash Bros. Poster. Maybe someone can let me know in the comment section down below. So Logan builds and tests mobile security systems as his occupation, and he goes to school for electrical engineering. So this is the setup that he uses for gaming, coding, and light streaming. He's rocking dual 27-inch 165 monitors and a 24-inch display in vertical mode for coding. The desk he's using is pretty cool actually. It comes with a monitor riser and a few things already built in, like a headphone hanger and a wireless charger next to an outlet, providing an easy access to charge devices. For peripherals, Logan is using the SteelSeries Apex Pro keyboard and the G502 mouse, and then for audio, he took advantage of the monitor riser and tucked away a soundbar underneath. By the way guys, adding a monitor riser is a quick and easy way of adding an additional layer to a setup, giving you extra space to store things underneath. All you need to do is buy a long shelf unit and add a few capital legs underneath it. You can even paint the shelf or skin it in any color you want so it works well with your setup's theme. Cables look to be under control thanks to a few zip ties and cable clips. I like that he even zip tied some of the wires to the legs of the desk. Nicely done. And finally, the PC powering the setup is equipped with the new 10900K and an RTX 2080 Ti. It is too beautiful to leave on the floor, so I'm glad that Logan placed it on a side table. Extra points for the custom cables and GPU backplate. It's a really nice build that fits perfectly with the setup's color scheme as well. Thank you, Logan, for entering. Wrapping up the episode is Utsav and his high-end music production setup. He is a software engineer from Seattle, and this is the setup he uses for recording music, editing, coding, and of course, gaming. You can't have all work without play, as I always say. Utsav built this setup on an IKEA Carlby countertop, and he installed a sit and stand base from Autonomous underneath that so he can adjust the height. So the first thing that caught my attention was the positioning of the speakers. I love how he placed them on speaker stands and he put them behind the monitor. Doing this frees up a lot of space from the setup that Utsav can use for other things or keep the desk looking clean and minimal. Speaking of minimal, he installed a keyboard drawer underneath the countertop to keep the surface of the desk clean while adding space between him and his monitor. For audio, he has quite the setup. Other than the two massive Klipsch speakers, he also has two additional KRK speakers that he uses to monitor his sound. He also has a pair of M50s hanging underneath the desk. And finally, the PC powering the setup is another high-end build. I think this is our 4th i9 build in this episode. I'm not even kidding. I should have called this one the Ultimate Edition, to be honest. One thing I would recommend for your PC is flipping those fans the opposite direction so that you have 3 fans for intake and the top 2 fans as exhaust. I know it looks nice this way, but for better airflow and temps, you want those 3 fans as intake. Other than that minor adjustment, I think you built a pretty badass setup. I love the #dare text you added above the setup and the guitars you hung behind you for a bit of personalization. Well done, and thank you for entering. And that is it for this episode. As always, make sure to comment down below on which of these was your favorite setup, and also consider dropping a like before you head out, as it does help out a ton with the YouTube algorithms. If you guys are new around here, consider subscribing if you enjoy Setup Wars, because we do it every single Monday. Thank you so much for watching. I love you beautiful nose holes, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.